The first year of the Super Nintendo saw some pretty average titles do well because everyone was starved for games to play on their shiny new console. One of those games was Joe and Mac, a run-and-gun action platformer developed and published by Data East, or however you say that. Oh, well then. It was a port of a popular-ish arcade game that went by the name Caveman Ninja, and I'm glad they changed the name because, as you'll see, there is nary a ninja in this thing. Typically with a console port, the question becomes something along the lines of, does it live up to the original? But for the sake of this video, let's just ask, is it any good? And maybe we can look at comparisons later. Right off the bat, I want to give this game props for keeping the story mercifully brief. Should you care to know why your guys are whacking things with clubs, just wait out the title screen for this little idiosyncratic piece of exposition. So turns out some bogus Neanderthal bros snuck into the village and chased away all the cave babes. And no, I'm not putting this affectation on for shits and giggles. Have a look at how it's actually written here. Someone on the Data East team Bill and Tedified the script, which, while kinda cringy, is at least entertaining. Unfortunately, it does not carry into the game because when you beat a level, it just says, "Great, you've done it. I am happy to have succeeded." Anyways, so the cave babes are all missing, and the only two who can get them back are Joe and Mac. No, try again. Joe and Mac. No. Okay, there they are. The eponymous Joe and Mac. And by calling this game Joe and Mac, it all but insists you play two players. And you could do that either with or without friendly fire, depending on which mode you pick. There's no difference between the guys, but would have been nice to allow us to choose which one we play as in one-player mode, you know, just in case you hate man buns. So, despite the fact that the setting of this game predates guns by a fair bit, this is still a run and gun, and you're making your way through a series of levels, each of which culminates in a boss battle. The weapons you get are era appropriate and include bones, boomerangs, wheels, and fire, each of which vary in strength, trajectory, and the number you can shoot at once. And good news, you can switch between them! Hey, yeah, please don't neglect that poor select button because cycling between weapons can really make things easier. And speaking of easier, this game is not one-hit kill, thank Christ! When you do die, you respawn, but they give you a bit of time to float around as a ghost to reposition yourself. And check this out, this game has a map screen to navigate levels, which is something the arcade version didn't have. While we don't get any branching paths, you can choose where to continue from and even access bonus levels by collecting keys and opening these doors. And I always like it when a game gives you a way to visualize the big picture, or your character's butt crack. Okay, enough design, on to gameplay. First thing you will notice when you start the first level is how sluggish things are. You kinda feel like you're moving around underwater, which is not good. You have normal jumps and flippy jumps that go higher that require holding up, and both are slow in a way that really take you out of the game. Is this just their way of getting around technical slowdown? I guess you can't have slowdown if your game's already slow, right? Ugh. And another thing. Platforming is kind of imprecise, which wouldn't be a big deal if they didn't hit us with places like this, or this. Damn it! Or this egg way up here at the very beginning of the game. I hate this egg. Speaking of imprecision, you're gonna have some issues hitting guys with the weapons for some reason. It seems they will have no problem hitting you. And you'll also have moments where a hit will register twice with seemingly no explanation. Stop! God! And I'm convinced that some hits are unavoidable. I have never once successfully dodged these falling dinosaur bones. Not going well, huh? Here's another thing. The game's difficulty is not exactly balanced. Some bosses have entirely too much health, while others are just a pushover with the right weapon. Just crouching and shooting fire is all that's needed to take this plant out. The final boss is probably the only boss that requires a perfect combination of pattern recognition and skill, with all others being either too easy or too cheap. Is there anything good about the gameplay? Not really. Let's look at graphics. Well, it looks good. In fact, this is a damn impressive looking game, all things considered. Look at how big the sprites are. And each one is full of personality. They did not get stingy with the assets, especially for the Neanderthals, who will do everything from throw rocks to drive a car to hauling ass out of their Flintstones style. And the bosses, as you can see, are huge. Really great work making these guys a spectacle, and walking over the first boss before you fight him in the first level was a fun touch. This guy looks rad. So does this mammoth who gets busted up the more damage he takes, and oh man, that's just grisly. And what's also grisly is the fact that the last level takes place inside of the preceding boss. Yeah, you just jump right in his mouth. Mind you, it does look ripped right out of Magic School Bus, so it's not too bad. Audio is satisfactory. For music, well, I hope to hell you like pan flutes and bongos, because this game is both pan-fluterific and bongo-tastic. Here's the waterfall music. Here's the thunderstorm stage. And here's the volcano level. Pan flutes. Boy, I wonder if they're all... Yep, there they are. Not that I'm against these sounds, but geez, diversify. Oh, those samples are good though. Come to think of it, there are lots of great audio samples used in this game to give everyone more character. Listen to this plant. He sounds like the third member of the Yin Yang Twins. Getting into the value of buying this game today, I should probably mention that not every version of Joe and Mac that's out there is the same. The original Caveman Ninja arcade game is of course superior in many ways, like having more weapons, more enemies on screen, and the ability to charge your shot, but the SNES version has its share of unique stuff to help it stand on its own, and not be seen simply as an inferior version. I already mentioned the map. The levels are actually longer as well, which surprised me. Plus, the SNES version is the only version with this devil final boss. Oh, and the original Caveman Ninja had some stuff in it that would probably be considered un-PC in today's climate. Yes, truly awful. The game was also released on the original Nintendo a year later, which is weird, and it goes without saying that there are some differences. For one, it's only one player, so like, anyone who plays it will be like, who's Mac? It also looks just awful. Look at this. How does a late NES release look so bad? A year later, it came out on the Game Boy, and before you say, uh-oh, just know that it was pretty good. It actually included more weapons and enemies than the Super Nintendo version, and even had the charge-up shot. No two-player mode, though. Seriously, guys, just call the game Joe. A year after that, we got a Genesis version, which probably can be considered the best console port, certainly in terms of fidelity to the arcade original. But the SNES version is different enough from all of these to be worth your time. And seeing as though it currently costs only $15, just go for it, man. Two-player co-op on the cheap is nothing to scoff at. Worth mentioning that Joe and Mac got a sequel with Joe and Mac 2 Lost to the Tropics, which is actually quite good. There's also the new Joe and Mac Caveman Ninja, which came out in 2022, but the consensus on that one is that it's generally not very good. But really, Joe and Mac was one of those franchises that really didn't need to be brought back. So, let's review this thing and give it a 6.2 out of 10. Great graphics and fun design don't mean much if your core gameplay is so flawed. Pick it up for cheap, but don't expect anything revolutionary. Have fun.
They call me Joe, but your girl call me Nightly. Caveman stepping on weapons, they wanna fight me. Ain't got time to waste, gotta go fast, dropping boomerangs. Fire up on their ass, hang on a minute, I'ma break this egg. Say crack-a-lacka-lacka. Inside is a chicken leg, smacking the beehives. They falling on my head, no stress, I'ma float back up when I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm the mammoth killer that they callin' Mac. Knocking trunks off like a lumberjack. I be hopping and dropping and popping folks on the head, running butt naked through the jungle bed. And I be throwing them bones just like you should. I got the club swinging like Tiger Wood. I ain't got the middle, but I got the stone. Tell them bitches I'ma bring them home.
I'm a play. I'm a big ass play. Get this fly track on your ass. I'm a play. I'ma shake these vines like a motherfucker. Shake these vines like a.
Okay, let's not get demonetized.